I want to actually hear from someone who's been in the room to fight for Pete Hegseth. It is Kaj Larsen, who is running SEALs for Pete Hegseth. Kaj, welcome to the program. Kaj, tell us what you are seeing up close and personal in the room here and how your friend Pete Hegseth is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Charlie, it's an honor to be on. I actually just stepped out of the hearing room to speak with you and your audience right now. As you've seen, it's volleyed back and forth between being cantankerous with some of the senators and other senators appreciating the support for Pete's nomination. I think the most important thing to take away from actually inside the hearing room is that there are about 50 special operations veterans inside the room there to support Pete. A couple professional MMA fighters. That's probably the most lethal room in America right now. And what that means, beyond being a badass room, is that in the special operations community, when we go through selection process, we use peer review as a really critical, essential tool to select the best of the best. Essentially, you see Pete Hegseth being peer reviewed by the actual war fighters in the room right now. And people who have served with Pete, people who have gone through arduous experiences with Pete are there to support him. And I think that's being reflected in the testimony.
So let's talk about the military standards and how they have been relaxed and how they're different for males and females. And this has been a big issue made in this committee hearing. What is the truth regarding this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's been a sticking point in several of the Q&As back and forth with the different senators. I think the important thing to emphasize is that Pete wants to return military culture to a culture that's front sight focused on warfighting. And in order to do that, he believes that we have to maintain extraordinarily high standards. There's been a lot of discussion about this, but sitting in the back of the room, my opinion is actually not that much white space. There's unanimous consent and agreement that there should be really high standards for our warfighters, and they should be vigorously enforced. And both senators on both sides of the aisle and the prospective nominee, Pete Hegseth, seem to be in congruence about that, where it seems to be breaking down. There's a sort of series of kind of like ad hominem or sort of personal attacks, but that neglects the bigger issues that everybody both on the dais up there and then Pete sitting in the hot seat, everybody there actually cares about national security really deeply. You know, from the back of the room, I wish they'd spend a lot more time focusing on the big stuff that everybody's concerned about rather than the small stuff.
In closing here, Kaj, because I know you got to get back in, what do you think Pete Hegseth will do for military recruitment and morale? Yeah,
I think the truth is Pete's already done it. Look, we're... as the hearing started off, you saw the Senate committee chair say that we're living in a moment of consequence. We're at one of the most volatile periods in global history. Africa, Special Operations Command, Africa specifically, where I served, is at the most volatile time on the continent in the last many decades. So these are dangerous times, requires transformational leadership, and it's going to require a new generation of warfighters. There's no better testament to the ability to inspire and move people towards a mission than all of these former warfighters who spent the last 20 years fighting the global war on terror, mobilized to be motivated for Pete, come out and support Pete. So I think that bodes pretty well for recruitment and the next generation of warfighters. I think empirically, there's already been a spike in recruitment. And I think that's because a lot of the American public is aligned with the values that Pete espouses.